We are on. Woo-woo.
We are on. We did it.
Woohoo.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Andrea, also known as Auntie Cray Cray in the yarn world and my crazy life world. And
I'm Holly. I'm just known as Holly. Here at the lovely Artistic Fibers in beautiful Burlington, Wisconsin.
I'm one of the owners of this store. We've been Artistic Fibers in Burlington for about 17 years. And we just moved to this location a year ago in April. So most of it has been during a pandemic, which has been very interesting. But we have managed to stay afloat. And we really love the community. And everybody's super, super helpful in keeping us going. And so we'll get through this safely and someday maybe see bustling open knits and stuff again. So right now we have a group of people that come in on a regular basis, and we're able to still keep that little bit of community up since all of us are pretty much working from home and by ourselves. So we're considered family, yarn family.
Oh, definitely a yarn family.
Definitely. We've been through lots.
Oh, a lot.
Lots. 17 years is a long time when you start to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, Holly and I have been talking about having a podcast for years, probably a good 2 to 3 years
At
for
least,
sure.
yes.
And something always stops us, like maybe I say "am" too much,
Or work.
or just nerves,
Yeah.
social nerves. So we decided we were just going to go for it. I think this was my New Year's resolution to do a podcast. I think it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Life was really crazy. I also do hair during the day. So I'm a hairstylist, and I owned a really, really busy, bustling salon. And 3 years ago, I didn't even know what day it was when I would wake up. And I switched the makeup of it, and they're booth renters now. So now my level of stress has gone down a ton. I still have a salon, and my side job basically is crafting and knitting and dyeing yarn. So this is my pride and joy, actually. I love it. It's my outlet. During the day, I color people's hair, and at night, I color animal hair. So that line's called Auntie Cray Cray, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the podcast, and I'll show you some of the stuff that I have dyed up recently and some of the things that we've worked up in it. So we didn't tell them what our podcast is called.
Oh, we're AHA Knitting.
Why?
Well, Andrea and Holly.
Ah.
Ha!
We're such dorks, but we love it.
Yeah.
Holly and I have been friends for a very long time, but the thing that we have in common that we use very often is
We have the same birthday.
Exact
Same birthday.
exact same birthday, exact same age, everything. So
I'm just a little older by being born at really early in the morning.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
it's kind of crazy.
So she's the older one, and I'm the younger one. But what an amazing day that was!
Right, it's a great day. What's wrong with that?
Well, the world couldn't have two Andreas, but
Right.
Holly and Andrea are close enough.
Right. So we're kind of birthday twins.
Yes. So I have been knitting. My knitting story, just to give you kind of an overview, is I don't remember learning. I just knew how to. My mom always knit, and I grew up when I was younger, it was like early 80s, and I just remember seeing her do it. So I don't remember learning. I just remember picking up needles and doing it one day. So people ask me all the time, when did I learn or how did I learn? I don't remember. I just always knew how to do it. And then we saw that happen with my daughter. So my mom and I owning the shop, my daughter's 18 now, but when we opened this, do the math, she was just a tiny tot. So she, about 2 or 3 years old, said, I'm knitting. And she's doing the steps with nothing in her hands. Doing the steps. And we're like, oh my gosh, she knits. And we never taught her. So then she would sit on my mom's lap and my mom would do it with her. But again, we never really taught her. She just knew. So I don't know. My grandma taught me to crochet. She was the crocheter, although my mom crochets too. I don't prefer it, but a couple of times a year I get an itch to make something. So I usually have just a scrappy blanket going on, or I'll whip up a little cowl or something once in a while. But I don't prefer to crochet. I just prefer to knit. And I don't dislike one. I just prefer to knit, but I can do both. So what's your knitting story?
My knitting story starts off with cross stitching. I started off as a cross stitcher for many years. I was about 5 when I learned how to cross stitch.
Who taught you?
My mom. My
Okay.
mom taught me to cross stitch. I was had just moved to our house, and I was the only kid my age in the neighborhood, and I was bored. So my mom taught me how to cross stitch so I'd have a hobby to do. I did that for many years, actually won some awards for my cross stitching. And then,
Did you ever do like the 4-H thing?
no,
Okay.
no. But when I was about 7 or 8, my grandma decided I should learn how to knit. I was terrible. It did not go well. And then when I was like, no. And then when I was in my early 20s, my grandma decided, she gave me the who's going to carry on my legacy speech. And because she was a very well-known knitter. In fact, she did a lot of knitting for the needy up in Hayward, which was fabulous. And it was, who's going to carry on my legacy? I'm like, okay, this is the last shot, Grandma. If I don't get it this time, we're done. And I actually was very good at it at that point. So
and it stuck.
And then I did basic knitting for a long time. I considered myself an advanced beginner for a very long time. And then my mom and I actually wandered into the old yarn store by where you were before, because my mom needed a certain knitting needle. And we went there, and I signed up for the newsletter. You guys had a newsletter.
Oh, yeah, we had a newsletter at that time. Old school in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Did you get the folded and the stapled
No,
one?
no, I got the email one.
Oh,
and
in
one
the
day-
beginning. I don't even know if people did use email or what, or if we were just that archaic. But we used to have it printed, and then we fold it in half and staple it and send it out. Oh, my gosh. And then that got so expensive that then we started the email one. So you were on the email
So I was on the email list, and one day I was at home, and I don't know what struck me that particular day, but I was reading the newsletter, and there was a class that building blocks.
The blanket.
Yes. And I showed up, didn't sign up for anything. I just showed up, and you guys were like, okay.
So we did a block of the month club. We did a
Yeah.
lot of month of the clubs for a long, long, long time. That's how we built the community of knitting in Burlington. I
And-
mean, people just didn't know how to knit.
And it was wonderful. It was taught by Connie,
Okay.
and who fabulous knitter herself. And you're supposed to take a whole year to build this thing, and I did it in like 6 months. But it was a great building block by Michelle Hunter.
Yeah, that was a good class.
It's a great book.
Because it's worsted weight yarn too, right?
Yeah.
So it goes a little faster than, knitting on something small. Sometimes people don't make enough progress and get frustrated.
But what I really liked about it was it taught you a lot of things in a small step. Like, the first one was knitting and purling, and then there was reading a chart, which is something I hadn't done before. There was cables, which had scared me, and then I wasn't so scared. I learned bobbles, and all that stuff. So
built your skill for, over what was supposed to be a year.
yeah. And then she has 2 other great books, Building in Color and Building in Lace, which I will bring in another time.
That's the one you have over your bed, right?
Yeah.
That you didn't do, full length.
Yeah.
You did, half length. Mm-hmm.
And since then, I've been part of this community now for several years, and it's been amazing. So,
yeah. Our really, really tight group is I'd say about 10 people, give or take. A few throughout the years. Some moved away. We've lost some recently.
I was going to say, I would be remiss to say we just lost our dear friend to ovarian cancer, and we will miss Nikki very much.
Mm-hmm.
She was a great knitter. She's the one who taught me bobbles.
Yeah, she was fabulous.
She's
knitter.
a great knitter and a great person, and we will miss her very much.
Okay, let's move on
To
to
happier topics.
Okay,
We've got knitting.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about this fun hat.
Okay, so that leads us into a little bit of my yarn. So I love color. I'm known as the color person. We have
Oh my God.
ton of buttons here, and I always suggest that you knit your sweater if you need buttons first. Then bring the sweater in, because it doesn't matter what the pattern tells you. If your buttonholes are not quite appropriate for the button size that you bought, no matter what size they told you it was supposed to be, they're not going to work right. And sometimes what you see in the skein, let's say it's something like this, you can't really tell what's going to pop or contrast appropriately until it's knit up. So then when you have a section of it, you can kind of see what works. If I had made this sweater and bought teal buttons, thinking it matched well, and then realizing that I needed the pop of something after. It really makes a big difference. So
I can't tell you how many times I will go, do these two colors go together? And she'll go,
so the joke,
yes.
the thing is that I'm the color lady. So if anybody has any major color questions, my mom, who's primarily the other one that's here other than me, although we have knitting family that cover hours for us too, a lot. We could not survive without them. But if there's somebody that's really making something, my mom will even call me sometimes. She's working, I'm not, and she'll say, what colors do you think we should make with this? And the joke is that my mom will put blue with some more blue and a little bit more blue.
Yeah.
And her house is beautiful. It's white. And then there's one room she has, it's like eggshell. And then I think her bathroom is white. And then, like everything's white. Everything's white, different shades of white, but white. So I kind of like pops of color. And being a hairstylist for, I started doing nails in 97 and then hair in 2000. 2000. I think it was January 2000 I graduated for hair. So I just love color of all kinds. So when I do hair on people, I prefer a more classic, pretty look, like more natural colors. Like my goal is to make it look like it grew out of your head, even if it's bright red. And I'm not personally, my style is just not the fashion colors. It's just not my thing. It's not my clientele, and I envy the people that can do it, but I can't. So with yarn, I can use those neon colors, those pops of colors that I just love. I love with hair, you bring me in a picture, I want to make it look like that picture so that when you leave, I have as close of a replication of that as possible. Same with yarn. So a lot of times I'll gain my inspiration from something, like for say, this, I would take this and decide this is my inspiration. And when it's done, it looks just like this. So that actually brings me to this fall color that I had.
Oh my gosh, so gorgeous.
I had a problem, and I'm still having a problem. I wasn't actually even able to do an advent calendar this year with minis because my distributor that I get my yarn from is having a really hard time getting stocked again with COVID. And I'm just a real loyal person, so I don't really, because this is kind of a side small part of the store and my life, I just decided we're just kind of waiting. So I ordered some different vases and things to play with. And just put out kind of like one-time kits. So what I did with this one, it was fall when I was looking at it, and I have a beautiful yard in the fall because I have tons of different kinds of trees. So each tree, of course, turns different colors. And I look at the ground and I look at the trees, and they're just beautiful. So I dyed this color, which I call Falling Leaves. And because we're new, we don't really know how to get this close to the camera right now, but we'll work on that in the future. If you follow Artistic Fibers on Facebook, that's basically what our newsletter has become, by the way I meant to send earlier, that we don't send a newsletter out anymore because we just keep updated with hours and things that we're doing. And especially with COVID, you really can only communicate through Facebook right now, at least in this area. So this has like really cool oranges, different shades of green, and this red, and I can just see every single, this burgundy, my red maple turns this kind of burgundy color. It's just beautiful. I absolutely love it. And it reminds me of everything that my yard has in it in the fall. So this was called Falling Leaves. And then I should have hair dried this. See how many things cross over? Who hair dries pom-poms? Did you know that? You just you use your hair dryer and it kind of like poofs them up. If you didn't know, do it. So now I blow dry people's hair, and then I blow dry pom-poms. That's kind of funny. So this is a pom-pom that I got, and I think you can see. The ends have orange and black, and it's a tan base, which is just, again, very fall-like. So I made up these kits with these two. This is a tweed Aran weight. I find it's a light Aran, so it's more of a worsted weight. And then the snap-on pom that goes with it. And I had these kits for $49. And then, although it's a free pattern, I printed it for each of the kits. So I printed the pattern Beloved And Beloved is by,
Lore?
so sorry.
Just look for Beloved.
Yeah, look for Beloved. It is a free pattern, and it has kind of an elongated seed stitch pattern to it, which I thought, again, would kind of show that texture of like leaves and how, they're all on the ground, but they still have, even though they're flat leaf, they have bumps and grooves and stuff. So Holly made it, and she made the adult large.
No, I just made the adult.
Just the adult. And we think it's too small. Although it does fit, it fits tight like a beanie. So it's not that it doesn't fit, it's just got no extra ease in it.
Yeah.
So we think if she blocked it, it might get a little looser, but we think that the pattern just runs a little small or is intended to have a negative ease, where a lot of right now the trend is more of those slouchier hats. So I would recommend either using a larger needle for this pattern or going up to the largest size if you want it more slouchy, or, adjust the pattern so it's just a little bit bigger or longer for you.
And I did have plenty of yarn left. I could have made it bigger. So
yeah, so there was plenty in there. I think these skeins, if I remember correctly, have 183 yards on them, so that's plenty for a hat. There were definitely a ton more free patterns on Ravelry also. A lot of times people, what we find in the store is just don't like to think. So they just want you to put it all together and they'll just buy the kit. So I do this a lot, and to try to keep the cost down or more cost effective, a lot of times I'll use the free search button on Ravelry and plug in the yarn that I want the kit made out of and what I want to make, and then I'll find a couple of free options. Sometimes we include the pattern and we charge for it in the kit, but in this particular case, this was a free one, but it's printed. They don't have to worry about going home and printing it. Some people don't have printers, and some of our clientele don't even use Ravelry or even have a need for a computer. So it is nice when we do these kits. It's super simple and great for gift giving. I, of course, don't have any of these left because there was a very limited quantity and they're all spoken for now. But this was a super fun thing, and this is the kind of thing that I like to do. I like inspiration to lead me, so it doesn't feel like such a daunting job. When I have a vision in my head, it comes to me. I make the yarn, make the project, make the item, and then I usually dye it, and then I give it to my mom, and I say, you knit it up. So she usually knits most of my samples, I guess you'd say, for the store. But yeah, so that's my newest one that I really like.
Oh, I love this pattern. It was
fun to knit.
It's fun to knit. It's easy. It's a double moss stitch, so it's not hard at all.
And if you screw it up, no one would know.
No one would notice anyways, and that's the beauty of knitting. Sometimes no one's going to notice. So.
That's right. I think a lot of time we do see that a lot in the store too. Is people are like, see this one stitch? I'm like, nope, I don't see that one stitch.
If you see it and it's bothering you, then correct it. Right. If you can't see it,
or no one's going to know. Like there was an issue, if there was a mistake somewhere in this, when you wear it, you're not going to see it anyway. No. So. But I also fix a lot. I'm pretty good at fixing issues. So in the area, one of the benefits of our store being, brick and mortar stores, you can come in and I fix things and help you along when you get stuck. You don't actually need a class to learn how to knit a sock. Mm-hmm. You know how to cast on. You know how to knit in the round. When you get to the heel and you get stuck, give me a call. Come on in. I'm helping actually Emily today with I think the heel on her sock, and I think she's doing a cut-in heel. Okay. So the people just stop in and get help, and my mom and I and our other helpers have different things that we're good at. Like I said, I don't like to teach crochet, so if someone wants a crochet question, I say you got to come when JoJo's here. So JoJo's my mom's alternative name, alter ego name. Yeah. It's like the little naughty JoJo. Oh, JoJo's getting in trouble again. So she's not here right now, but we'll have her as a guest on at some point.
Don't worry. You're going to love JoJo.
Yeah. I don't know if she likes that name, JoJo. I just started calling her that in the last year because it's like, it's her little naughty side. Like when she does something like,
when she says, oh, piss, you better watch out.
Oh, piss. Okay. Another day for that. Okay. How about we talk about this because I think
Yes.
this is a great way.
Yeah.
Being in the holiday time
It's the time to make things for people.
and pandemic. Okay, people have been stuck at home. Their budgets have been cut. They can't get yarn as fast as they want to. They find a pattern they want to make it now, but the yarn store's only open on Tuesday afternoons, or you have to wait even prime shipping on some of these places
Well,
that can
and
ship fast
dyers-
as 2 days.
And dyers aren't getting the yarn they need because more people have learned how to dye yarn because they're stuck at home.
Yes. So what I found is I went through about a good month where my stash was just talking to me. I have it kind of displayed like this, only not on hooks, all laying down in my room, but it looks like a store. I have all my, and I have it kind of in weights. And so, and I sit on the other side of it when I'm watching knitting podcasts and TV. And I look at it and it's kind of like a store, and I just gain inspiration when I see something. I'm like, I really like that. And then my creative brain just starts thinking. I have all these little beautiful ends of sock weight yarn, fingering weight yarn, because that's primarily what I like to work in. And I know a lot of people make those cozy memory blankets. There's a chevron one. I know the pattern. I can't remember what it is, but there's a chevron one that you make the strips.
Habitation throw.
Habitation throw. That's another one. There's so many out there that use up these scraps, but I never finish those, and they don't even feel good in progress for me. So they kind of like sit in a bin over there, and I might pick them up twice a year. So I look for things sometimes because even though we are a store, nothing bothers me more than when you see people get frustrated. Like, I can't buy any more yarn. I have so much yarn, I couldn't knit it all in a lifetime. Yep, you're right. And that's okay. I think yarn is a collection. I don't think of it as a stash in a negative way. There's memories in it. There's entertainment in it.
Sometimes it's just pretty.
Yeah, sometimes it's just pretty. Do you have those skeins that, like, nothing will ever be good enough to knit that up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I found this pattern because I have all these ends of the fingering weight yarn, and I wanted to knit something fast, and I just needed a project that was going to be done fast. So I found this is a free pattern. It's called the Acts of Service Cowl. It's knit on a pretty large needle, 5 millimeter.
That's an 8, isn't it?
I never know that.
I think it's an 8.
How can you own a yarn store for 17 years and knit your entire 40-some years of life and not be able to convert millimeters to US?
I don't know. I do worry about you sometimes.
Well, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Hence Auntie Cray Cray. There's a reason for that name. Okay, so Acts of Service Cowl. So what you do is you hold 3 strands together of fingering weight yarn. And when one runs out, you just add another. When you're sick of the color, you just take one out, put another one in. And so I whipped up 2 of these pretty quickly. I think like in one night. Now, granted, I knit fast.
Oh,
And-
she's like the fastest knitter.
Yeah.
She's won contests.
I'm not the fastest, but I am very fast, especially if I'm just like knitting in the round. And I love stock knit in the round. So sweaters, or you just knit in the body around and around and around, or a cowl. I whip through it. I absolutely love it. I don't even think, and I don't have to look. So that is one benefit that I do have. So when I talk about things and how fast I knit them, I know that's not the average pace, but I do crank out a lot of things, which is good for a store owner because we have new things coming up all the time for inspiration. But I whipped up both of these. I think they took me one night. So I think like an average knitter could get it done in 3 nights. I also only have the one 18-year-old kid, and she just moved out. So I also have lots of time and a not needy husband.
Yeah.
So I, after dinner.
Stacia's always been pretty independent.
Yep.
So.
After dinner, I clean up and stuff, let's say like 8 o'clock, and I'll stay up knitting till 2 in the morning. Well, if you think about it, 8 to 2 is a long time. I'm a night owl. Don't talk to me before 10 in the morning.
True
But
story.
this, you can wear it in or out. And I'm not going to get into the politics of mask wearing by any means because there's too many views on it. However, I have to say that I am not saying that this is a replacement for a mask to protect you against Corona-19. So I'm just going to put that out there because I posted it and somebody had said something and I thought, well, I didn't think it was going to be in lieu of a mask. However, anything that blocks anything is nice. And so I do like that this can pull up. This one's a little looser. My other one's smaller, but I do like a cowl, even if it's not, for the virus protection, but like outside. I know we have lots of people that like walk the dog in the morning, and we live in Wisconsin, so let's be real, it's freezing. So it's freezing here. We've had ice on our table the last couple nights, but I do like that I can kind of like scrunch it up, especially if you think about you have a coat on or something like that. So I just think these are super great. Of course, I believe this is, and it would make sense because it's called acts of service. I think it was one of those patterns where they said, make one for yourself and then please donate one too. I believe it had kind of that community thought process behind it. But being 3-stranded, it's nice and thick. You can make it as long or as short as you want. You can use the reverse stock knit or the regular stock knit, and I just think it's a fantastic way. I also think there was a few sizes, if I remember
there
correctly.
are 6 sizes to this cowl, which is great.
6 sizes, that's right. This
very
is the one that goes down to little people.
Yeah, it goes from toddler to teen, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah. So I don't check gauge on these. It's a cowl. I just cast on the needle size they told me to use, and I just whipped them up. So if you're looking for a last minute, like quick knit or just something mindless, or maybe after the holiday, you want to treat yourself to making something for yourself, any of those are good options. Acts of service cowl. Free pattern and great way to use up some of your leftovers. I've been talking a lot.
Okay. So I will talk for a little bit.
What's new?
So speaking of things that you can get, I got a couple of different advent calendars this year. And the first one I got was by Kirby Werby Yarns. You can find her on Instagram.
You cannot get this yarn.
You cannot get this anymore.
I'll tell you because I tried.
But the thing I really liked about it was that I got it as a sock weight yarn, and you could order a couple different sizes.
You could get different weights?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or ones with sparkle or not.
Okay.
But what I really liked is that it came, and when you open it up, it was 2. So you can make 2 exact socks.
It came in a hank.
Yep.
But when you took the hank apart, it was 2 equal skeins. Okay,
yes.
Cool.
So which is nice because then you're going to make 2 equal socks. No, I haven't started them yet, but I am dying to. And it was her Advent Schitt's Creek 2020. So, and it came with a really cute keeper that was Ew David. So.
Ew, David!
Oh, so cute.
If you don't watch the show, I don't know if you like it. It's really kitschy for certain people. I love it. It's hilarious.
Some people love it. Some people hate it. Yeah. I love it.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Sock conversation.
I love socks. Yes.
Yes, I know you knit a lot of them. Do you wear the socks you make?
Hell yeah, I do.
Okay. I never wear them. I make them and I never wear them.
I'm wearing some right now.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Double points, small circular, or magic loop?
Great question. I prefer baby circulars. Now, a lot of people do either magic loop or double points. I still have to use double points when I use the baby circulars to do the heels and the toes because it gets too small. But for my hands, I prefer, and I ladder too much when I use double points to do all the way around. And laddering is when you literally see a ladder of
stitches between.
So I prefer baby circulars. I know you do not.
I can't hold them. So I'm a double pointed needle girl. Again, I don't even have to look. I can just go along and knit. But I hold my needles out here and my fingers do the knitting, but I'm holding them out here. And that's what I've discovered is why I can't knit on baby circulars, because I don't hold my needles here and they're so short that I can't hold and knit them at the same time unless I did this with my fingers, which I'm not going to do. Now, I believe it's Addie has a new one that has one of the needles is longer and one of them is shorter, but still the little baby circular, like 9-inch. It was better. But I still would not say I could knit on them easily. And flexi flips.
Oh, I did not like those. I don't know. But see, the thing is you have to find what works for you.
Yep.
And flex flips did not work for me, but they worked for a friend of mine, and I ended up just selling her my needles because they just didn't work for me.
I didn't dislike them. I just feel like it's so fumbly, and that's how I feel for me that Magic Loop is. Again, other people think that double pointed needles are so fumbly. They don't know what they're holding. There's things hanging all over and poking all over, and they feel like Magic Loop, there's just one needle. But I feel like every single time I'm done, I pull this out and like push these up. I can't stand it. So I just know that we don't care what you knit yours on. I just know that each person has their own preference. And so people will ask us as shop owners all the time, like, well, what is better? There's not a better.
It's got to work for you.
Yes, it's what works for you. And we hold our yarn different, and we wrap different, and we're,
I tried double pointed. It just didn't work right for me.
You can go fast on the
I can go so fast
smalls.
on the baby circulars.
Now, do you like Magic Loop?
I've never tried Magic.
Okay.
To be honest.
Okay.
I have not. But I guess I found the baby circulars first, and I just stuck with this.
Yep.
And also, baby circulars are also good for sleeves.
Yep.
So,
which is why I would like to do them, because I've got about probably 25 sweater vests at home because they never get sleeves. I hate top-down sweaters where I have all the bulk, and it's like, you know, I'm constantly feel like I'm doing this with the whole sweater to do like a few stitches on a sleeve. So I would like to be able to work a baby circular so I didn't feel, I mean, I know you can turn your work or like a different way and wrap your yarn, yada, yada, but I just feel like I would like to be able to use the little circulars on sleeves, but I just can't hold them. So I don't know. I'll try them on probably like a larger size, like in 5 or 8 that I'm doing some of my sleeves on and see. But I tried with socks first, and I just couldn't do it.
And again, it's got to be what works for you. If baby circulars don't work for you, there's lots of other options.
Yep.
And a lot of people swear by Magic Loop and only Magic Loop.
Yep.
They Magic Loop hats, they Magic Loop socks, they Magic Loop their sleeves. And that's great. You just got to find what works for you.
Okay, I want to know a little more on your little.
Okay, so we're back to Advent because I've been getting stuff from this company in the past, and it's called Jimmy Bean's Wool. And part of the reason I brought it was to show you, gosh, everything comes in these cute little bags. And it came with a pattern to make a scarf, but they had a scarf in crochet and knit, and then they had another Advent thing too. But one of the things I really wanted to talk about was that their customer service is fantastic.
I've heard this.
So I got my box, and I opened it up, and I counted out all my bags, because they all have numbers on them. And I was missing day 15, and I thought, well, that was weird. So I took a picture, and I sent it to him and said, hey, I'm missing day 15. And I don't know if it's crucial to...
What, you don't know if it's just a little stitch
marker or yarn.
Pattern
because not every day is yarn. Some of the days are... like one of the first days is the needles to use, you know. So, and they said, oh, not a problem, we'll send it to you. And they did right away. And guess what? It was chocolate.
Well, that's essential.
Right. So I thought,
that's definitely needed.
Right. I was like they could have just said, oh, you don't need 15. It's not that big of a deal. It's just some chocolate. But they did. They sent it right away. And so I have day 15. I thought that was pretty awesome of them. They have a great, their shipping rates are fantastic.
I like the little bags, too.
Oh, yeah, the bags are cute. I've seen a lot of people, like, hang them up and stuff like that. So, I mean, all their stuff is fantastic.
It looks like a perfect, like, my ball winder winds my yarn more like a football, so it's longer, skinnier. So I think mine would fit in one of these as like a ball sack.
Yeah. Now, keeping in mind, you don't have to use the yarn to make the pattern they send you. You can use this for things like acts of service cowl or
a shawl. That's really cool when you get stripes that way.
I have been using up leftovers and minis to make these cute woven stars, a free pattern on Ravelry, which I will show how to make the stars next time.
And I think those are great gift package toppers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I like wrapping my gifts in that vintage look, like the brown paper bag wrapping paper. That's what I get. Mm-hmm. And then, like, the raffia or the cotton cord and, like, a little piece of pine tree or
Yeah.
something, and I just think that those would be so cute on that.
Well, and they're also good to give just as a gift for someone that you might just need a little something for. So I will have this and some more ornaments to show next time. So
And to clarify, this makes stripes, so you will have, there's 24 stripes.
yes,
So you'll have striped socks when you're done.
right. Or striped whatever I want, but I will definitely be making socks with these.
Do you know, is that are they each 50 grams then?
Yes, I think.
You didn't weigh it yet.
I did not weigh it yet.
Because I'm just wondering, because my feet,
I know
they would be really long socks.
They will be really
if
long
I
socks.
knit the whole thing. So I'm just wondering if they're smaller or
I'm
not.
not sure. But with leftovers, especially self-striping, you can always find something cute to make with these. So, and there's a lot of cute free patterns out on Ravelry that you can find.
Well, and also, especially if you had larger feet, or like
Right.
let's say like men's feet have a tendency to be larger than
Right.
women's. So if you were making them for a dude, then you would still have enough yarn. I'm
Right.
just wondering because I got such tiny little feet.
Yeah. And what's really cool is that every color is from a quote from Schitt's Creek. So it's not just a color, it means something. So
I didn't realize that was a Canadian show, like it's
Yeah.
from Canada.
Yeah. So funny. So funny. I know there's people who don't care for it, but
Right, and
We
it
love
does have a different sense of humor.
Yeah.
So if you are more conservative or don't like naughty words and attitude and things like that, you probably won't
Yeah.
like it. But
it's one of
if
those
you
shows
do, it's
you watch
funny.
it the first one and you're like, am I really watching this?
Yes.
And by like the end of the first season, you're like hooked.
yes,
So
it's like corny and great at the same time.
right, but it's very heartwarming, and which I think is great.
Okay, so while we're on socks,
Yes, let's talk about these ones.
yeah, evergreen.
So Andrea found this great pattern called Evergreen Socks.
It's free too, right?
No,
maybe
it was-
like $3. It's really inexpensive.
I was gonna say it was a cheap pattern.
Yeah.
I made mine out of Auntie Cray Cray, and this beautiful green color,
It has specks of like
brown,
burgundy and browns and purples,
white,
and the white.
oh my god, there's some blue in here. It's fan-freaking-tastic. The pattern calls for just to making the trees on the top. I chose to also put them on the top of the bottom of them. And
I'm the queen of whips.
it's
So it's almost done. I still have my needles on.
she just has to do the picture.
That's all I have to do. So stupid. But this will still be like this in 3 years, and then in 3 years I'll make the other one, because then I will feel successful because I will have made a pair in like 2 days,
Yeah.
because I will already have one done. But I did mine in a solid color. They're kind of hard to see because they're not actually blocked. We just put them on the blocker. Which, by the way, I have to tell you about these blockers. My grandfather-in-law made them for me. So I have a bunch of my mitten blockers too. It's really cool. So we went to this really unique wood shop. He was all excited to make, whatever I wanted. And so they're really special to me. I think he's in his 90s. Grandma and grandpa are still like really pretty healthy and live on their own and everything. So they're really neat people, and I just love these blockers that he made me. They'll be special forever and ever and ever. But yeah, so I just did mine in solid, which I actually do like, because you can see the trees really well. Maybe not in the video here, but in person you can.
Well, and I think one of the things I like is that it's a very simple lace pattern, and it's got written out chart or the chart, so you can go either way. Again, I made my top part smaller. It wanted me to do a longer part here. I don't like long socks, and so I went with not doing the 1.5 inches here. I just did like a 1/2 inch, and then I went into the pattern. So now that I'm looking at the bottom, I did pretty good.
Did you do the heel that they?
I did
too.
the
Is
heel.
this so pretty?
Yes, it's pretty and it's easy.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
It makes this little like honeycomb kind of design.
Yeah.
It's really pretty.
Mhm.
I love it. Yeah, I found this to be a fun sock to knit too.
Mhm.
And if I just sat down for a few days, I could get the other one done.
And on the bottom, it calls for just doing the straight stockinette on the bottom. I chose to do 2 more trees, so one on either side here, just so that I wouldn't be bored making the bottom of the sock.
Yep. Sometimes you got to do some things.
Yeah.
Sometimes
And-
I'll do even just like a little ribbing through the arch just
Right.
because I'm
Mhm.
bored.
Yeah.
But at the same time, remember I can knit even on double points, stock knit. So once it's going around and around and around and around, it's really easy for me to do. While we're on socks, I'm going to keep going. This was something I picked up on a vacation to Door County. And oh, I wish I could remember the shop name. Do you remember the Door County shop's name?
It's super cute though.
Yeah, it's a cute store, and it has good yarn, nice selection, not overwhelming, but definitely enough worth the drive. But anyways, they had, if you've ever seen the West Yorkshire spinner, every year they come out with a Christmas pattern, and we get it in the store a lot. We just didn't get it this year, but I was able to pick it up, and I have to say I don't love it because of the blue. They're not like traditional Christmas colors. It's like a blue and then a rose and then kind of an orangey red. But overall, I think they're cute. So
Now
they are also sparkly.
I know, but now is that a pattern in the sock or is that a pattern that you had to put in it?
No, I measured out all the stitches and then each one I like. Nope, it just happens. Which
That's
also kind of drives
beautiful.
me crazy too, because from afar it looks like a pattern. Like to you,
Yeah.
you probably just see a pattern. To me, I'm
Yeah.
like, well, that didn't match up, right? Does that look like the picture? So, anyways, I have to say, even though I do like them, it's not real good for my personality. There's just a little bit too much. But I'm almost halfway done with this one. In fact, I know I am. I'm ready for the heel, which is why I stopped, because I couldn't find this because I'm a hot mess. So, but I found this today. So now I can do a heel. So I'll probably do that today.
And speaking of socks, let's show what you got underneath those.
Okay. We have a lot to show today.
We
This
do.
is fun.
I know. And I know I have stuff for next time too, so we're doing good.
Okay. Do you guys know what sock blanks are? First of all, I don't like their name. Here's the reason why. If you're not a sock knitter and something's called a sock blank, then you think it's not for you. And that's so absolutely not the truth. So if you don't know what a sock blank is, a sock blank comes, to me as the dyer, it comes in an already knitted up, as my husband calls them, the scarf yarn. Because he thinks they look like a scarf. They kind of do. He says, so you're going to unknit it to knit it again? And I said, yeah. He goes, is that the same when you quilt? You cut up fabric, sew it back together to make more fabric? Yep, that's what it is. But anyway, so
He's so smart.
he's such a good supporter. He's a good hubby. Yeah. So, so this is called a sock blank. Again, I've never dyed these before. I think I didn't know what to do with them necessarily. And because I'm all self-taught, I haven't been able to find enough information on how to do these. Now, some of these people do these amazing pictures.
Oh yeah.
Like they're painting them. Now, granted, mine would look like a stick figure if I tried to paint like, I saw one the other day that had like the little red truck with the tree.
Oh yeah.
There's no way I could paint that, but I like the concept of putting a design in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish I had pictures, but my mom is working right now, actually on this one. I did make 2 of this one, and I have her working on a shawl because I want to break the stigma of it being a sock blank. Mine are single-stranded. They come single or double, so if you were going to do 2 socks at a time, then you would want the double-stranded ones. I don't. So with socks in mind, I'm trying to get both ends the same, and it's just not working. So if anybody has any suggestions on where I can find some information, I don't care if it's paid education, free education. I follow Chem Knits a lot, but I still haven't gotten like good information on these. So I'm self-taught, figuring it out along the way. But I wanted to show you some of them because I think they're pretty cool. This one, in love.
Oh
It's
my
not
God.
showing up as bright on camera as it is in person, but
No.
it's like almost neon.
Yeah.
And I think people that like the mystery knit-alongs
Oh yeah.
would like this because you really don't know what you're getting, and that's the fun of it. Like,
Right.
what does it look like? Well, I don't know. So if the whole thing looks the same, like this one, front, back. It kind of looks the same, the whole way through. I would use this for socks because they are going to primarily be even. Something like this one will not. If you knit one sock, this side has all kinds of, you can't see it on camera, but it has more like speckling on it. Whereas I didn't get as much speckling on this side. So they would look different. You know, this sock on this side is going to look different than this side. But as a shawl, it's perfect, which is why I think it should not be called a sock blanket.
Now this one is cute. It's got Christmas motifs on it.
And see, if you think about it as a whole, like it's going to overall look pink and light pink. And then you're going to get
Pops of blue.
little pops, like 1 or 2 stitches at a time of the blue or the pink or the black specks. Mm-hmm. And this one was super fun. Oh, it just reminds me of like the skate barn when we were kids.
Oh yeah, totally. The skate barn was, it's now called Trailside, and it's a trackside. Sorry, it's a roller rink. Roller rink.
In 6th or 8th grade, that's just where
that was where you went, man.
You know, before Tiki Talk and Snappy Chat and all.
Yeah, that's what you did. I mean, it was a big deal if you got to go to
because there weren't parents. The parents didn't come. Like it was one place that parents would let you go. So it was like the start of the independence.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
And your parents would drop you off, and you were like, sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So, because there were some parents there, so it wasn't like you were totally unsupervised.
Right. And do you remember Mr. and Mrs. Wilson? Like they made sure we were. They were good. Like they knew who we were. So although they weren't babysitters, and I know the new owners, I haven't been there because my daughter's 18, probably in, I don't know, 5-10 years, but they were just as good with the kids and knew them by name and everything. So, So anyways, I started a couple of shawl patterns I want to show you about with this sock blanket because I just love this one. Looks like animal print. So cool. So I started making this one called Zooming. There's Zooming, which I lied. That's the worsted weight one. Zooming Light is the one I was making. I tried to make it on size 6 needles, even though the pattern calls for 4, and I didn't like it. It was too loose. So I lost momentum after like, an inch. So although I like this pattern, I didn't like this yarn on this size needle with this pattern because it's already open and lacy. If it wasn't open and lacy and it was like a tighter garter stitch style shawl, I think it would have been fine. But because there's so much lace in it, I thought, no way. So I found another one called Hyacinth and Heather Shawl. This one, I believe, is a free pattern. I'm not positive, but I believe it's a free pattern. It says 4 millimeters circulars, but I think I would go down. I think a 4 millimeter is not a 6 needle.
No.
I think so. Again, 17 years in the industry. I don't know. But anyways, this one has a lot of like eyelid, a little bit more interest to it, like waves and stuff. So has anybody made this? Couldn't find a whole lot of projects online. And I'm kind of wanting to see what it looks made up in a different kind of yarn before I cast that on. But that's one of the options. And then, is this the other one? Nope. I had a third one. Who knows? Who knows where it is now? But anyways, if you guys have made any shawls in sock blank, and if you have a suggestion for what I should rebrand and name these, because sock blank isn't going to work for me. I don't really want it to be called shawl blank either. A mystery strip?
Ooh.
Something like that, because that's really what it is.
Right.
It's a mystery. You don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, if you have any suggestions, let me know. And definitely on dyeing techniques, because I would love to do more of these. I'm just doing what I know for dyeing fibers and using different products that I know I can use to keep dyes like striking faster and slower and making them thicker. The one product I used to make it thicker, like it was too thick and then it wasn't soaking in and I can't seem to get a tiny enough amount and yada yada. So I'm a little frustrated with not being able to get the look that I want. but it's new. So I mean,
Right.
that's also
New,
the challenge
like the
that I love.
podcast.
Yes. So, a couple more things. You want to talk about your hat?
I will talk about my hat. So, an associate of where I work has been diagnosed with cancer, and there's fund me pages and stuff like that for her, and don't have a lot of extra money, but guess what? I have a lot of extra of yarn. And a friend of mine that hangs out here at the store gifted me this Uru yarn sugared sport.
I've never even heard of it.
I've never either. It's really nice yarn.
It's one of the softest, like Lurex, Tencel,
Right.
and sparkly ones I've ever felt.
So I made her a CC hat. It's a free pattern on Ravelry.
This is a knit crate yarn.
Yeah. And what's nice is that I did it with a rolled brim instead of the standard ribbed brim, because that's what works better for people who are having chemo and radiation and all that stuff. And I don't put a pom-pom on it because that adds extra weight on it. But it's stylish because it's the hat basically everybody's wearing right now. So, and it is washable. Machine wash
It's so
gold.
soft. I know that's an issue. Like, it's not just that the scalp is bald. The scalp has sensitivity to it. So,
A lot of extra sensitivity to it.
And it can feel like tingly and pokey from what I hear. So, I unfortunately have a bunch of people that have had cancer and lost their hair in the past few years. And so I've learned a lot more about what works and what doesn't work. And I think this yarn is really great because it doesn't have any pick to it at all, even though it's got the sparkle, which is unusual because, I mean, you feel this, like it's not, it's got some baby pick to it, you know, like you can usually feel, this
was super soft. I don't know what but yeah, sparkle yarn is not.
So
and then
good.
I happen to find out she loves purple and sparkle, so I was like, perfect, I got yarn for that. So when my grandma made a lot of chemo hats. She was the hat lady. She would always do a rolled brim and a nice soft yarn. So, and something washable because they wear this all the time and it gets dirty, so it's got to be washable. So, and this is machine wash cold and flat to dry, which isn't a big deal. So,
well, and whether it's because of chemo or just life, bald heads are very cold in Wisconsin.
Right. So I think it turned out really nice. I actually finished it last night.
Now, are you going to block it on a head, or are you just going to leave it like that?
I'm just going to leave it like that and give it
to
her. I hope this keeps her nice and warm while she's going through.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
Her garbage, which is what cancer is garbage. So, we definitely have to talk about that.
We have to talk about this shawl because this shawl was such a huge hit. We actually, did this during shutdown.
We did. And we actually, as a yarn store, had several Zoom meetings, which worked out really well.
We call our knitting sessions open knit. So we had Zoom open knits and virtual. And it was a lot of fun.
And it was a great way to get everybody together apart. Yep. And everybody was at home.
And we're so used to getting together. Like, I think like every Friday. And then now it's like every Tuesday and some Fridays.
Right. And it was just great because we really needed each other. I mean, first of all, this pandemic has been awful. And it was a nice way to be together apart. A lot of the nice ladies love to drink their wine so they could drink from home.
Yep.
And not worry about needing to be picked up or taken anywhere.
Well, and some people that were working from home, you know, if you live by yourself, you're just there all day long. I mean, luckily you got to go to work because you live alone, but luckily you got to go to work, so you were able to see people, but some people weren't, and then some people didn't, needed a break from the one person.
Right. Yes. Well, and yes, I do live alone, and yes, I do good work, but you see the same people every day, and it was nice to see my friends.
A social.
Yeah. And laugh and be silly. We held birthday parties over Zoom.
We did. We had a surprise birthday party for Fancy Nancy.
Yes.
That was a good one.
Yes. I can't wait for you guys to meet Fancy Nancy. She's amazing.
Yeah, that was great. So all of us, her daughter, we all sent gifts to my house, and then her daughter picked it up, and we arranged that. And then we had her daughter in on it, so her daughter told her she had to go on the Zoom knitting, and she knew there was going to be a Zoom knitting. We were just on a half hour before her, and then when she came on, there were 10, 12 squares.
Well, and Andrea had given us all a little mug cake kit so that we could have our cake
and balloons, and so everybody like decorated their background with the balloons.
Oh my God, it was
and she opened her gifts from her house as we were all on Zoom. It was a blast.
It was so much fun.
Took a lot of creativity. So anyways, the shawl that we're talking about is the Emiliana. It is by Malia Designs.
Oh my gosh.
It's a paid pattern, but it is beautiful. It's mosaic knitting. If you haven't done that, it makes you look really fancy, and all you're doing is slipping stitches.
Well, that's the beauty of it. It's color work without color work.
Yes.
Because when I do color work, it's too tight.
Yeah, you're carrying all these strands and floats.
I have to work on my gauge on that because it's just, I made these super cute Christmas socks.
You couldn't even get them on.
I couldn't get them on. So I could get them on, but barely. Mm-hmm. So I've only made the one because, yeah. So, but this mosaic knitting is color work for people who can't do color work, like myself.
Yeah, I love it. So you can see,
you just need two very contrasting colors. They can't.
And if you're Andrea, you do whatever you want, which means you see, what did I do? It starts here. So I did this color, which was one of my colors. It's kind of a neon, a pastel neon speckle. And then I was going to do it, I think, with just yellow on the other side. I can't remember. I feel like somewhere on one of them I ran out of yarn and I just had to finish with something else. So I think this was the one. I think it was supposed to be lime on this side, and I have a third color in there. I think that's what it is. It's supposed to be two colors, and I have a third color. Yep. So I knew I was going to run out, but I love this shawl. I love this particular one. The color, really pops on kind of a solid, because it's neon, but it's not bright neon. That's what I like about it. So anyways, I love it. And the size is great. And there's another one you can see right there. That is done also in anti-cray yarn. So that's a marshmallow, which is just cream. And then Oh Dear. That was a winter color last year called Oh Dear. It's like a fawn brown. It's really nice. The key to this shawl is to have major contrast, I think. If you have two colors that are too similar, it just doesn't work.
You won't see the color changes.
So I just grabbed these off the shelf, finding one that's very dark or bright, and then finding another one that looks nothing like it is really what's best for this shawl, in my opinion. If you were to use light brown and dark brown, it just wouldn't show. And it has
you can use light brown and dark brown, but they have to be very different.
Yes.
They can't be the
same. Or you won't see the pattern.
Yeah.
But like we said, the cool thing about this is that you can use two skeins from your stash, and then you're only using one of the colors every row. So that's what we meant by slip stitching. So you're going to knit not giving away the pattern because I knit it so long ago I don't even remember, but you're going to knit two with this and then slip one. Well, that slip one ends up being the row before, which was the dark. And then you're going to knit two and then slip one. And so you can see that eventually gives you a pattern. So when you come back on the next row, you do kind of the same thing. So you're following a chart-ish, or is it charted and written?
It's written out.
Okay.
It is both.
But you're not actually carrying yarn. You're just working down and back with one color. And then the next row, you would maybe work down and back with this color. But when they slip, you overlap them because you're not knitting that stitch. You're just bringing it up. So I know it sounds a little confusing, but it's super easy. So if you haven't done two color knitting, I highly suggest that you try this shawl. It's really pretty. You start out solid with there's a little pattern in it. It gives these little elongated V's in it. If you really don't want to be that tedious, you don't have to put that special stitch in. You can I have yarn hair stuck on my lip gloss. You could eliminate that little tick stitch that they have in there if you wanted. But it's not going to look any different.
Keeps the boring section from being too boring.
Yes, exactly. So I think I was supposed to do Yeah, I did do the tick section in the black, but you can't even see it.
No.
Because black, you can't see anything on black. So that I shouldn't have even bothered. But like Holly said, it does help with the boringness of it. So we've seen it done in all kinds of colors. Most people have knit 2, or even more, because it's really quite enjoyable and just takes 2 skeins of yarn. So even
quite cost effective, actually.
yes, and even if you have one skein that you love, hit up your local yarn store and find a contrasting one to go with it. Just make sure it's the same weight. I have one more thing to share. Do you have one more thing to share?
I think I'm pretty good here, but I think we should talk about that.
Okay, my wish knitting. So this is my wish knitting. So Emily is another one of our knitters here. She's actually just had her 1-year anniversary for knitting. She's so cute.
Wow.
She was all excited. Emily has done more knitting in a year than anybody I have ever
and
met.
she's gone from 0 to 100.
I think like her third project was a sweater. It's crazy. But anyways, she had this super cute hat called the T-Rex hat. And it's free. There's actually a T-Rex sweater too. I don't know if that's free too, but it does match. And I have a nephew that loves dinosaurs, and it's got these little dinosaurs. Unfortunately, the picture's not going to do it justice because you can't tell. So I would suggest looking at the patterns on the projects on the pattern page for this hat, because I believe there were some in there. But hers was so cute. So I'm thinking of doing it out of this. So I think I'll do the main hat in the lighter tan, and then this is a navy. It's looking a little dark in the screen, but it's a navy. And do the dinosaurs in the navy so that they really pop on there. I'm not really sure. I'm not sold on the colors yet, but that's what I'm thinking, because I don't really know what his coat color is, and my brother wouldn't let him wear anything that was like even slightly like not dude, like my brother's real dude. So he likes navies. He likes real classic colors like navies, reds, browns. Right. I guess I should say that. It's not necessarily like dude. He just likes real classic colors like polo. Think the brand Polo. That's what he likes. So I think this looks really classy and nice. So we're doing their Christmas, I think, next weekend. So I might try to whip that up. We'll see. I've been making Christmas cookies because I do everything because I'm crazy.
I do have something else to talk about.
Okay.
I'm wearing my campsite pullover.
Oh, yes.
It is a paid pattern on Ravelry.
I was looking to see if I could get the yarn, but I don't think we have any.
I don't think so either. I absolutely love this pattern. It was a great top-down knit. And there is a campsite cardie, which a lot of us made actually as well here at the store. Yeah. And it's up there on the thing I really like about it, first of all, it's a bigger weight yarn, so of course it goes faster. But it has all these lacy holes, yarn over holes in it. So in what would normally be the boring section of a sweater. So I do have something underneath. But I absolutely loved making this. And the nice thing about making sweaters and stuff for yourself is you can make it whatever length you want then.
Well, and what is nice about this, and I have to mention that way too many people complain that they mess the eyelets up, because it goes from close eyelets to farther apart to farther apart.
Yeah. And
people mess them up and they get frustrated and they think that it's going to show. And remember at the beginning of the show, we told you some things don't matter, and in this particular case, it doesn't matter. If you screw up where the holes are, no one's really going to see that they're off because they're that random. It's a great first sweater. The cardigan is amazing. There's and not all of them are free. Only some of them are free, but some of them are paid. There's a campsite shawl of some sort with the eyelets in it also, and because it's on a bigger yarn, it goes really fast. So highly recommend those patterns in general. But that's a really great first sweater.
Don't be afraid of lace work, because all it is yarn overs.
Which is a half of a knit stitch.
So, I mean, there's nothing to it. And it's usually a yarn over with a knit two together right after it. Yep. So it's not hard.
Super easy. I'll tell you about this cute thing.
Yes, please tell us about the cute
I got to tell you about this cute little thing. So a friend of mine, another knitter, Ann, and I went to an event last year, and this guy was there, and he had his socks in a little tiny lunchbox. So, of course, I go online and look, and I end up on like eBay or something like that.
Right.
Like $20 to $100 old lunch boxes.
Right.
I'm like, I am not spending $20 to $100 on an old lunchbox that I don't really care about the collector part of it, right? I just wanted it because I thought it was cute. Then I went to the Dollar Tree and I found this, and I love it. It's so cute. And I actually have my notions in this right now. Oh yeah, you got me this. I love
did.
this. So I don't wear it as much because I got the tiniest little wrist, but this is one of those magnet wrist things that Holly got a bunch of us for our birthdays last year. We usually get together for birthdays. Hasn't happened so much in pandemic, but it will fit me. But I have such tiny wrists, but I leave this open sitting next to me, and I use it like.
The best part is it's a slap bracelet. Old
Oh, it
school.
opens up too? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and on the back side's actually a ruler.
What?
Yeah.
I did not know this.
I got it from Jimmy Bean's Wolf.
I didn't know there was a ruler on there, and I'm always trying to like put it like this over the arm of my chair when I use it. I love it even more now. Oh yes. Okay, cool. So I learned something today, but I love it because when I'm using my stitch markers, a lot of times, when you're doing things, you like need to add another one or take one off, and when you're counting and stuff, and so I keep it in here because it keeps all the metal things stuck to it. My needle
and stuff. So
yep. So I keep my scissors, and this is kind of the stuff like if I'm going someplace, the emergency stuff I'll need. So I can take out my tape measure now because I have one on the back of this. I need more sticky notes in here. Anybody else use Post-it notes for?
Oh my God, they're a knitter's best friend.
I mean, I don't know how anybody functions without them. But anyway, so I thought this was cute. It was last year. I know they did have some this year too, but if you like how cute this little thing is, I think it's the perfect size for socks, especially if you did small circulars or magic loop, because your needles will for sure fit in there. Now me with my double points, because if I'm using short ones, they would. Long ones, they wouldn't. But I still love this little thing, and it was from the Dollar Tree.
Now, this is also a cute thing to wrap up a present.
A gift, socks, knitted socks or something.
In.
Totally.
For $1, come on. And it's cute. Yeah. And if they're a knitter, they can use it for whatever they want afterwards. So.
And as my husband said, how much was that?
$1.
Alrighty. I think we did good.
I think we did good.
Do you think we did good? I think we did good. I think this was fun. I think what I like about podcasts is you find out what other people are making in other areas. And I think that a lot of these things we brought up today are not necessarily things that I've heard on other podcasts. So that's why I think it's kind of cool. So give me some feedback on the sock blanks that we're going to call mystery blanks or something. They're getting a new name. And
we're going to try to do this again on next Tuesday because that happens to currently be my day off.
We don't know. We're with
I work
the holidays and stuff, it's a little difficult for us to get this in. But our first one was also the most difficult. Now we know the setup and things like that. And Holly got us a microphone, so you should be able to hear us. Hopefully that's not a problem. We're not going to be high-tech and fancy because we're not high-tech and fancy people. But we enjoy doing this, and we look forward to hearing from you guys. And that's that.
Yeah. So thank you for watching our first podcast
called Aha Knits.
Aha Knits.
We're supposed to go do that on your side because I don't know what side the button is on. Hit the subscribe button. Seriously, thanks for geeking out with us today.
And we'll see you again next time. And thank you so much.
Have a great week.
Bye.